Make sure the sound is working as it should. Everything's looking good though. Nice. Okay. Well, back in San Francisco. I mean, I've been working on San Francisco, but the work I was doing was pathing work. So I've been going back and forth between setting up the pathing in San Francisco and testing it in the other maps as far as the new adjustments that I've made, which thankfully the tests went well. I haven't heard anything in the bug reports regarding huge pathing issues, so I'm guessing it's looking good, which is great because it is essentially cutting out a lot of the work that I've been doing on San Francisco. So took the time to make the rest of the adjustments to the other maps. That's all set up and committed. Now I've been doing it to San Francisco. As you can see, I've taken off all the nav volumes I put in for the cliffs because now I don't need to do that anymore. I don't need to spend countless hours, and I hope this remains a fact because of the recent adjustments I made to these cliff meshes, which changed up how the nav builds around them and how they affect units when they make contact with these objects, with these rocks in particular. Now, for a game like ours, which is an RTS, this was a problem because, these rock formations don't really build perfect nav on them. And when units would get into them, or mostly on top of them or near them, we kept having these issues where they get stuck. And it was just absolutely irritating. And it's been a problem that has plagued me and the rest of the development team throughout development. And I think we finally got it to a point where it's not happening. Now, over the last few weeks, you've seen me just obsess over this and just test and test and test and adjust and test and adjust and test and adjust. And after much trial and effort, finally got it to where it's zero instances of units getting stuck. From what I've observed in playtesting, they're going around sharp corners pretty smoothly. Where we used to have units getting stuck at corners like this and just ball up and cause issues, I didn't see it happening. And on top of that, they weren't getting on top of the rocks and getting stuck. And as far as other units, especially operators, when they jump on the rocks, they'll start to push you off. This is a no-go zone. It's supposed to be mostly just a border that units cannot access. That was the whole idea. I mean, I get I get the point that people want to be able to jump off these cliffs and do all this cool shit, but given the limitations of the engine and how things work, as far as like what we've set up as mechanics and tried and tested, and this is the best way to go. It's just try not to make it too complicated. It is an RTS, and usually in RTSs you don't have units jumping off the sides of cliffs. So finally got that working. I mean, no instances of any vehicles, of any player units, or even infected getting stuck on these edges, which is good. I did see some instances where they kind of get confused as to how to path up a mountain, but quick edits that I made kind of cut back on a lot of that weirdness. Now that a lot of that was happening in Calypso, I'm pretty sure I'll run into other things where I'll need to make adjustments. But the one thing I was worried about is units getting stuck in places that they shouldn't. And now that that's pretty much solved from what it looks like right now, um, I don't have to do this work anymore. I don't have to continue with the work that I was doing on San Francisco around these cliffs and setting up nav volumes to prevent that from happening. So now I've moved on to just doing detail work, updating the cliffs here in this map, which is done, and let's move right into just detailing these grids, dressing up these levels so that I can move on to finalizing the 3D models for these buildings, which is going to be a whole other endeavor. Mainly because I'm pushing for using something procedural, but we're still going to have to model the procedural sets that go into this tool. Now, what that'll allow us to do is to create very quick instances of buildings that we can place around the map rather than modeling every single building as one off. Now, you look here, you see there's some buildings already textured and finalized. These are buildings that we used on other parts of the project. Wow, that's not good. Okay, some of this I do have to adjust because I fixed a lot of pivot points and updating the meshes moved them around. I think this one's fine. Yeah, this one's fine. The only problem is this one, which needs to move over some more. Whoop, that one was for me. Let's see. Um, he's not gonna like this response. Okay, let me give you a quick insight into what's going on. So, apparently, players found a way to jump into the water here on this map, which is Iron Wake is what it's called now. And he says we need a way for players to get back up. Any ideas? I could probably set up something really rudimentary, but my response was we kill them when they jump in there. But I'm pretty sure. Okay, so he definitely wasn't going for that one. Wait, does it have kill volume? Because I don't remember it having one. I'm trying to ask him, is that not a solution or does it not have one? I didn't understand quite what he said. But yeah, I thought that map had a kill volume, so something happened there. Maybe I need to put a new one in, or it was deleted, or it remained in the old level. I don't think he brought it over. I think I might have deleted it actually, but it might still be there. I need to check that out. So yeah, in Presidio, there are players jumping into the drink, into these canals. It's not a problem we ever had. I don't know how. I didn't even know there was fucking jumping in this game. Let me see. Pretty sure yeah, I think they can jump. The last time I was play testing, I was able to jump. So yeah, that's a problem. If they can jump in, either way, this isn't like Assassin's Creed or a game that would require or need for you to go and explore underwater, right? So I think the best thing to do is just kill volume, man. If they're gonna do that, they're gonna die. Because that's a big ass mesh, actually. Let's see, hold on. Let's take another look at this. Like you see the edge of this canal right here? This whole thing, this whole structure is actually, I think, like one or two different meshes, which is pretty huge. I would have just done this with like splines and baked it down. I mean, merge it, not bake it, into a bigger segment of mesh. But it's gonna be kind of weird cutting into this. Well, no, maybe I can like split some of this wall off, unless that's another problem, which I'll just add more to the work, is UV mapping any more new geometry that comes of this. Because I also make a stairway. Either that or I could take, that's even better. I can make the openings, which isn't like a huge edit, and then create a stairway that goes down. But then I have to measure how far it goes down to make the stairway large enough for them to reach. This is the thing though. I'm gonna have to pop over to that level to look at it. It's just gonna slow down my work here in San Francisco. I mean, I kind of have done enough for today. I want to keep going in San Francisco, but I also want to look at that issue there because that's not good. See, I thought we had a kill volume at the bottom of this canal, and apparently somebody got down there and they're still alive. So you can see the guy's nameplate right here. And honestly, it's an RTS. The operators is something that came out later on in development, and a lot of our level design wasn't designed or built with that in mind, with units jumping into the water. Because if we let them jump in here, they're going to want to run all the way around underwater. And then we're going to have to add a underwater breathing mechanic of some sort. I think it's just better to kill them if they jump in there. But he might want me to make something to accommodate that, which, like I said, right now it's just going to cause me to go shift over to that and drop San Francisco for a bit while I fix that issue. But I'm pretty damn sure we had a kill volume in there originally, and I don't see any point changing that. But I'm just starting to think out loud and figure out a solution for that whilst I'm doing this. All right, so there are a lot of things here in San Francisco that I need to fix as I go, or that I've been fixing as I move along. But next, I'm going to start replacing a lot of these landscape splines. And what that is these bad boys here, which are in the landscape. I don't want to use that. I want to use spline meshes, like I did with some of the roads. Well, these are still individual meshes, as you can see here. But in other parts of the map, like with the freeway, I'm using spline meshes. So it's like a procedural mesh spread along a spline. And let's see. Okay, I did update those meshes. Okay. Checking to see that I had the railing in there. Still need to complete the supports for this part of the freeway. Okay, back to what I was doing. Anyways, I just trying to look ahead to what I need to do, but I need to focus on what I'm doing right now. So let's see over the Roadmaster map that has all of these meshes in it. So I got all that stuff separated out into the proper grids, and now it's just going in here and replacing these. So let me navigate to what's going on here. Wrong mesh. Okay. This. is the tool I've been using for the spline meshes. I think I'll start it right here. Where's the furthest one? Oh, wow, they go out pretty far. All right. So let's see. I'll start here. This looks like it's still grid 1, yeah. Let's drop this tool here. It does that. All right. Didn't delete, really? Come on. Solve this. I need to go into landscape to see what mesh that is. I want to match it exactly. Slot. So I'm in the right grid. This is going to be grid 1, so move to San Francisco G1 roads. Let's see. That's a collision issue. Take a look at that in a bit. So this is not the same level. Actually starts back there. How are these all getting turned on? And this will be a little more performant than the landscape spline. So next, copy that, take it to the next part. Let's see what's on this side. Like what it's doing there. This tangent here might be a little too wide. No, that one looks fine. It's the center one. It's better. That's one thing I forgot to do. This tool has a little quirk with it. Actually, I should do that with... Okay, that's weird. It's acting up. Either way, I still have to do this. I get the individual point and then just move it so that it doesn't fuck up the center of it. Alright, that's good. Oops, I need to set this one up on this side. No, it is messed up. Damn it. Okay. Let's do this over again. Damn, man. That can be so annoying sometimes. What I need to do is go into this. So I get the tangents and then just move this back and forth. That way, when I move this end, the other end isn't going to follow. It'll start doing this weird rotation with the alignment of this part of the mesh, this edge. And it starts to get weird, and I want to keep it locked in so that I don't get that weird stuff going on. So copy this again, paste it into the Z height of the new one, and then realign. I know there's probably a better way of doing this by now, but it's like I said, it would take some research, development, and I need to get this ball rolling. I need to build this level, work with what I've got, and just keep it moving. We can figure out these better ways of doing things when we're in a good place and everything is working as it should. Even if some of those new ways might make our life a little easier, sometimes it's just things you need to put off to get the work moving. San Francisco's already seen enough delay due to the work we've had to do, well, I had to do on other parts of the project, and just, again, bug fixes, research and development for other ways of doing things that take forever. And I think at this point it's time to get it moving further and just worry about improving the workflow later when there's time. I mean, like I said, I like to make time for myself to just mess around in Unreal and all the other software I use to kind of just try new stuff and begin incorporating that into the workflow. It's like the, for example, the streets, like the sidewalks and streets. The way I'm doing it now, it's not the most efficient way. Like we could take time to develop a tool that does it a lot faster, but again, it's going to take time to put it together, test it. Not just that, but see how it performs and what we need to do to improve that performance. Like with this, these splines, although they're better than the landscape splines, they are not the most efficient. And even just doing this, what I'm doing right now, not the most efficient. There's better ways of doing this, but again, we have to build the tool. Just takes time away from work. But with this, I have it in a separate level, and we can take all those meshes and merge them down into much larger chunks. You know, it's just cutting back on draw calls. That's the big part about doing this. Is I didn't like putting in these individual pieces, which is how we were doing it earlier on in development. So why don't we do it in splines so it's just faster to lay out a street rather than, you know, grabbing this one piece, alt, drag, align, you know, and so on and so forth. That's just not a good way to approach it. What happened here? Ain't that weird? But the splines does speed it up, even though I'm not using the tool to the fullest extent, I guess, of its capability. Mainly because it still needs refinement. And using some of the features that are included in this are a bit limiting at the moment. Select this. It's getting weird. Let's bring it in a little more. I don't think I had it coming out that far anyways. But, you know, we were talking about, and I've already kind of put together a little document of what I want in the tool. Because Dimitri was beginning to do some work on it. Because he's usually the one that, you know, handles this kind of stuff. While still doing the other work that he mainly does on the project, which is modeling the vehicle, you know, 3D modeling, and of course the technical artist stuff. And you know, I want something that'll be procedural, and you know, I want add like this has features for adding meshes at every certain point. You know, like if you're putting in streetlights, like right now the way I'm doing it, I'm gonna have to put in the streetlights manually. Whereas we can have a tool that'll set that up as we're stretching the spline across the map or creating segments of it. Let's go down here. So that I don't have to place those street lights manually each time, because that's just annoying and tedious and completely unnecessary. Oops. But we have objects like fire hydrants, light poles, trees, and other things that I want to be able to swap out at those distances, but I also want them to kind of have their slots like at different intervals so that it's not the same thing at the same position going down that stretch and it doesn't look too repetitive. But then again, those objects are also going to have to be destroyable. Like, if a tank rolls over them, it can knock the fire hydrant out of the way. It can knock down the light pole. I want there to be a capability for putting blueprints into those instances. But I also want something that'll create driveways. That way I don't have to create those manually by messing around with these meshes. The way this is looking right here. Let's see. I think that's good, yeah. That looks good. At this point, my brain's a little fried, man. I can barely talk. I probably should have just kept working without streaming today, but I've I've got some bug report messages coming in, and one of them's got me a little pensive right now. Because is that even a fucking word? I'll just say it in Spanish. Pensativo, which I know is a word in Spanish, but I'm trying to think about ways to solve that issue. The other problem is I don't think it's an issue that needs to be solved with anything other than just a kill volume. But then doing this too, it's been a bit annoying because yeah, there's a better way of doing this, which we're still kind of in the middle of figuring out. Like I said, there's a lot of features I requested in that document, so there's a lot to do in that respect. But for now, this is how I'm doing the sidewalks and the streets and anything related to this. It's going a bit slow, but I mean, it's getting done. I feel better when it's done. And to finish off the stream, I'll probably pop over and look at some. It's only a couple bugs that have been reported so far. And they're not even related to pathing, it's mostly just collisions and that issue with the canal. Not sure what the hell's going on there. That is a weird collision. That's supposed to be... it might be the naming on that. Pull that model up in a bit. There's also the metro rail system I need to rebuild in downtown, which is that way. When we transferred the project over from the old build, a lot of stuff got lost in translation, and there's a lot of stuff to be rebuilt here in San Francisco as I'm doing the detail pass. If you're wondering what it was, the detail pass is pretty much all the set dressing. Trees, you know, traffic signals, street lights, Did I say fire hydrants? I think I did. Bus stops, all the stuff you would see in a city. Right down to the trash. Let's see, how's this tangent? That's fine. This one should be fine, yeah. So this one should be fine, I think. Yeah, it's good. All right. And of course, that involves doing this because I want all the landscape splines out of the way, unless they're a slope. And I just want to replace all these with static meshes or spline meshes. There's quite a bit left on this map. I think it's mostly just grid 1 that's left. Let's see. No, those are slopes. Those are fine. Those are fine. This isn't a big deal. I'll just delete that and leave the slope in there. I might have to level this out though a bit. Oh yeah, the others that are left are just slopes. It's only this grid that has the most left. So quite a bit done. Once I finish this grid, I can focus more on the detail stuff. This needed to be done. Let's dial this back some. No, it actually needs to move in. It's like about right there. Add out some. Keep bringing that in. That's good there. Right. Save this. I mean, most of the editing has just been in the landscape and roadmaster, so don't have to worry about the other grids. Okay, I see it. He said make it a kill Z volume and then test it. All right, so not a whole lot to do there. I think either the volume that's in there right now broke and it's not working, or I accidentally deleted it or didn't include it into that map or transferred it over like I should have. Or it might still be in the open world map. Who knows? I'm gonna have to check that out. So easy fix. The other one's collision. Also looks like an easy fix, so I'll probably put that off until later. I can just keep going on San Francisco. Both of those shouldn't even take more than like 10 minutes to get. Well, the testing probably gonna take me a little longer. So that part might take a while. Placing it will only take less than a minute or two. Testing it's probably going to stretch into like a half hour or more, depending on adjustments or it just doesn't work. When it comes to game development, things tend to just stretch out throughout the day. Or a pain causing volume. That would still mean I would have to construct a way to get back up. What is, oh, okay, I didn't align that. So I think that should be good, right? No, it needs to stretch a little bit. On the other maps, we have a kill volume, I think, but I'm going to test and see on the other maps. I don't think there's a way for units to get into the water on other maps. I don't think it will allow the helicopters to. There's supposed to be a fucking a null volume for that. Like, they shouldn't be able to jump in there at all. Huh, that's weird. I'm gonna have to take a look at that. That's just odd that they were able to do that. That's the first time since we first built that map that I've heard somebody get into that canal. I know that we put a kill volume down there. We had a safeguard, but it's not working clearly. If I can find what was in there before or what should be in there, I'm just going to put it back in. But of course, test it to make sure it's still working. Okay. Yeah, I can see why one of the other guys we had working on the project was like so frustrated with the spline tool. I mean, if with the improvements that will be made to the tool, I think there might need to be changes to the actual physical meshes of the sidewalk and the streets. So I actually want something like, rather than just having a separate 2-lane, 1-lane mesh, have it so that the tool will actually let you select, scale it and put in the lanes so you can select from like 2 to 4 to 6 lane roads and have it be procedural to where it will just convert to that. And also the ability to create intersections so I don't have to physically put in the intersection mesh and connect the roads. I mean, I already had a setup with this procedural set or this modular set that I have for the roads that I can use with this tool to put in an intersection, put in a lamppost. But again, it's very limited. Some of the streets, some of the shapes with these streets are just too complicated for that tool to do it alone without having to break it up like this. Like it starts to look weird because it deforms the meshes in strange ways that I don't think are going to work. Just don't look good. Was that? Let's see. Come on. That was 3, right? 3 segments? Yes. Okay. Oh boy, I almost fucked it up right there. That one goes this far. So this is going to be a nice complicated one. This one's fine. It goes into the flooded parking structure underneath there. There. Let's see. This one here. Let's delete this segment. And I'll copy this. Let's use this mesh. Not on that one though. This one. Just gonna rotate this to face that way. Wait, nope, that was too much. Go. Carajo. You know what? I'm gonna turn off this level too because those are getting in the way. That's the volumes for the street or the road nav for vehicles. I mean, realistically, I should have the visibility turned off on those. I think that's good, but I don't know if I should be using that dotted line. Maybe the empty road. So everything kind of just looks like it's merging into each other. It's gonna look weird. Well, let's see. Let's see. Let's play with it a little more. Pull out of this. So this one, wow, actually, no, that should be fine. And this one can merge into those. Maybe I shouldn't have deleted that other one, but it's not a big deal. Let's get the rest of this set up, and then I'll worry about that little segment. But yeah, like intersections like this is where that one, where this tool would have been pretty limited. Because it's really just set up to make like simple streets. Nothing crazy like you would find in real life, with like really complicated intersections and stuff like that. You know, to get these, I have to do it like this. I mean, we could set it up to do this kind of thing, but like I said, it's going to take a little more work. And right now, I kind of want to keep the level creation going rather than doing research and development, which could easily take up hours and days, which again isn't a problem, but something to always consider. Sort of like the last few weeks where I took time to convert an entire level, convert the cliffs in an entire level to a certain setup and test it to make improvements to navigation. Now that was time that was well spent because I pretty much figured out an issue or solved an issue that has been plaguing me for a long time, and seeing the results of those tests and the adjustments that were made is a life and time saver. So I'm glad I took the time to do that the last couple weeks before moving on to this map. And it was an issue I wanted to get out of the way before completely committing myself to San Francisco, because it would cut a lot of work off what I was doing. A lot of what I was doing was tedious and probably wasn't going to work as well as it is right now. So that was a necessary detour I needed to take. And at this point, I think this works well enough for creating the sidewalks and the streets. And I'm going to have to make do with it. But then, as I always like to say, is that there is no wrong way of doing something when working in 3D. There's just better ways of doing it. AI viewers, no thanks. Sorry, man. Let's see. Just move this back a little bit. I think that might have been 4 segments. But yeah, building it like this, it's not game breaking. I usually put in a little more time and priority into something that's messing up the game right now than to something that's just not really going to affect that. This one's kind of a problem there. All right. Now, I'm going to switch these out with, let's use this one, see how it looks. All right, now I'm going to take this over. Okay, just this shift. Yes, it did. Damn it. Yeah, it looks better. All right. So yeah, this has been today's whole thing. Fixing all the crap that didn't translate well to the new project or the new build from the old build and replacing all the landscape splines. Okay, let's do this one. Streets look like they're fine. Yeah, they're just going into one another. Probably could improve the way these merge. Hmm, let's bring this over. Get it. Time is it's already gonna be 6. Damn. Time flies. Currently there's I'm gonna be going back into doing more 3D modeling for the levels, especially the buildings. Um, as I said, a lot of these are going to be created using a procedural tool. The only 3D modeling I'll have to do is for the modular sets. I completely lost track a while ago, but I was talking about these buildings. These have been used in the maps before, and a lot of these were built as one-offs, which is just time consuming. Now, a lot of these buildings, the new ones, are still going to have to be built as one-offs because they're what you call hero buildings, which are unique. I call them landmarks. They are unique instances within a large environment that draw attention. They're focal points, landmarks. Other people call them weenies, other people call them hero objects. I like to use the well known label that we can all understand as a landmark, something important, something of significance. Those are the only ones that will need a little more time as far as modeling. The rest is going to be done with modular sets using, architectural styles from around neighborhoods in the city. And even then, I'm only going to be using the procedural tool as a way to generate different um, configurations and then saving those out as individual buildings that I can use again and again and again. So although there will be some reused assets, they're gonna be uh, less repetitive because I'm gonna have a wider range of buildings to choose from to place into a map rather than the limited amount that we have right now. Because I think right now we only have like maybe I want to say about 400, 400 and something. And we're gonna need a lot more for San Francisco to look really good. I think that's enough. I'm gonna pet that one to death. Let's see. This could use some improvement as far as how these roads merge into one another. Not entirely keen on that arrangement. I think these are fine, but this one gives me pause. Let's get rid of it. Let's bring over these guys, or at least one of them. Actually, I'll start from this side. And I'll do this one, let's see. Fuck it, I'll start from here. And personally, like, I like to use a combination of procedural, but also handcrafted. Procedural tools are great. I think they speed up workflow very well, but if they're overused, or if you refuse to take the time to do something by hand, things start to get a little boring. Let's see, how is that? Mm, let's see. Maybe I should have started with that stretch of road. Oh, it's not too late. Look good. Pull it in some more. That's fine. I think it's good like that. I just take this piece. Maybe do it with this one instead. Do it separate. Wow, that looks weird visually. At least when I have it selected, right? No, yeah, it still looks weird. Okay. Maybe bring this back some and then dial this tangent back a little. It's still tripping balls. Okay, much better. Just turn that 180, 180 degrees. Pull it over here. There we go. That looks better than it used to. Although, I think it's fine. It's fine. I was gonna overcomplicate this intersection by making, this lane maybe going down here so they could turn over here, which is just creating a clusterfuck that doesn't need to exist. But again, I'm thinking about this in a functional matter, like, trying to make it somewhat believable as far as a city street goes. This one also does not look good to me, so take this. And I can either do it with the single lane. Let's see. How does that look? No, you know what? Let's just have it merge. I know it's a video game and we don't really have like working traffic making its way through this, but I still want to make it look somewhat functional. Let's keep going. Save before something bad happens. This spline can stay. It's a slope. Might actually want to look into that collision. Let me go into my work folder real quick. That's not it. It is. Let's open up. I need to find out where I imported it from. I think it was the collision fix, but let's double check. I know where that mesh is. That ain't it. There we go. And I believe it is. I think it's this one actually. Yeah. So they were having an issue with this collision right here. This model came from the lit Windows folder. Okay. Let's check out the collisions here in Engine first. Ah, there it is. That's the problem. I do believe I rebuilt the collisions for this, and these are old. Hmm. No, these are the current ones, aren't they? Why are they? Yeah, fuck. Well, it's just a matter of adding another one right there. Should have been one. Huh. Maybe I named it badly and it didn't. See, like over here, this is kind of an issue too. No, that's fine. That's there. One's there. Is it? It's not going all the way out? Okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to check the collisions on that. Realign them. Either I didn't build this or it did not import into the engine properly. Because if I didn't build it, man, that's just, I don't know what the hell I was on when I put that collision together, but okay, I see the problem. So I know where that is. It is in the lit window folder, and now I'm just gonna have to guess which file it's in. Let's start with this one. That was one of the bug reports from today, which came in at the end of the day, but not bad. We check Discord again. Nothing else, which is good. Which tells me, oh wait, nope, there's a message. Oh, that's supporter chat. Not for me. Let's see. I think it might be in one of the first files on the list. this one. That piece or that one. This one. What have you done? Let's see. Yeah, I totally screwed the pooch on that one. I need to make that. That's not good on my part. I don't know what the hell I was thinking when I left that part out. Oh, that's a knucklehead on my behalf. So, what's going on here? What's this? Okay, that's fine. Yeah, yeah, they're all properly named UCX collisions, so they should be working as intended. The only thing missing a collision is this lip right here. Hopefully that is it. Nothing else. Hopefully nothing else requires a collision. I mean, although I'm looking at this and I'm thinking somebody is eventually going to want to put a sniper up there. So maybe this fix is going to take a little longer than I thought, because I'm going to have to create some kind of custom collision for that area. Up here, this ledge. Now that I'm looking at this. Was another thing I saw that gave me a bit of concern. No, that's fine. I thought there wasn't a door there. So I'll leave that open. That's what I'm going to be jumping on in a bit. But first, the work on San Francisco must continue. Got this. Let's see. Should I throw that in? No, we'll leave that out. Only the stuff in grid 1. Yes. Well, that is technically part of grid 1 since there are buildings there. Get to it. Okay. I suppose this down here as well, maybe? Oh, these need to be replaced too. Fuck, I forgot about the on-ramps. How many of them did I create like that? 2, 4. That's it, just 4 of them. Okay. Since this one is on this street, what are these in? Let's see. Let's test this first. Okay, that is part of. Yeah, it is grid 1. So maybe I should include these. All right. That's everything along that street, right? This grid. And there are these over here. It is also considered part of grid 1. Damn. Okay. This one. That's not the one I wanted. Holy crap, it's already it's gonna be 6:30 now. A while ago I looked at the clock, it was barely like going to be 6. Alright, I think it's time to close it out for the day. I've been going at this for a while. I got most of the stuff replaced. There's still a good amount of sidewalk and road to replace here and refine a bit as far as how it's set up. But it being 6 o'clock, I think it's a good time to kind of just take a break. But first, I need to do that other stuff because that feels a bit problematic. What's this tangent look like? Oh, that's too wide. This one is fine. Why is it doing that? Finish these corners first. Wow, what happened there? Oh, okay, those are some of the spline tools that didn't come through properly. Alright, that definitely needs to be replaced. Yeah, see this whole stretch right here. There's also the metro rail that was here. I need to rebuild that because that didn't translate well. Like over here, you can see that piece of the rail where I had the spline tool stretched out. I mean, this is already set up completely. And when we transferred from the old project, this got fucked up. This is how it ended up. It's not even positioned or extruded how it was in the old build. So I have to rebuild that too. But I mean, I did most of the map already. And I think looking back here, all I have to do is just redo these off and on ramps here with spline meshes. And then the rest of this grid right here, which is not a whole lot of work left. But I think right now, after I finish these 2 corners, I'm gonna move on to that other fix real quick or taking a break, continuing this a little later tonight, get it out of the way, and then get on to rebuilding that metro rail. And now that I'm placing the trees using blueprints, I think I can actually throw the trees in to start. Push going out of the sidewalk. I've been thinking of starting these streams earlier in the day rather than at the tail end of my day when I'm starting to wind down. That way folks can see a little more of the work that's going into this. I mean, at least now that I'm getting back into the set dressing rather than just doing fucking pathing work, which is boring as shit and not something I really wanted to stream, but you know, it is a game dev stream, and I guess showing the many aspects of the work that I do on this game is relevant, even if it's just boring ass pathing. Working on pathing sucks, man. At least in this game, with this engine, because things were not working the way I expected them to. I had to do a lot of reworking and testing to get it right, to get it to work how it should. And it was just frustrating work and very tedious and time consuming. I mean, all work in this is time consuming. So, there. Right now, that's done. Let's delete that. And that. So yeah, I'll start it on this side and copy another one over this side. But you know, also early in the day, while I'm working, I do tend to like fit my workout in between doing work. Like I'll do this for like, you know, I'll have a rest period of like a minute or two, do this, and then do a set, do some more work while I'm resting, do another set. And what I do is like supersets too. I don't just do like one set. I'll do like a series of different exercises in a row and then maybe rest for a few minutes and then jump back on it. And I'll do like 3 or 4 sets. So there's that too. That's another reason why I don't start the streams early in the day, because I got other shit that I like to squeeze into my day while I'm getting things done. Because, you know, having a job where you're basically just sedentary most of the time. Me getting old, I need to I need to squeeze in exercise whenever, however I can. I want to maintain a good condition well into my old age. And I've always been good about exercise, so I'm not gonna stop now. There are days where I feel like I just, you know, can't. I want to be lazy, but can't do it, man. That guilt starts to set in. You know, and it's kind of the same feeling with art too. I mean, with work, for me, it's like as long as I get some shit done, I'm good. As long as things are working the way they're supposed to. It's all about getting things done and going to bed feeling like you got it done. Did good. That's good. Oh, that doesn't look good. Adjust this. Still pretty good. It's fine. I don't want to keep going with this, but I want to get that other thing fixed too. I mean, it's not a big deal. I can probably get it fixed tomorrow. Just keep going with this, but I've been doing this the last few hours and it's getting boring. But I'm almost done, so it's like, yeah. No, actually, no, I'm not almost done because again, I have to rebuild the metro rail and all the stuff that was messed up along this trail here. Ugh. Let's do this area right here. There was those intersections on this side that I missed. But I mean, I'm down to the last grid, so I got a ton of shit done. I mean, and in building San Francisco, that was a whole other thing there. Okay, so for this area, what I want to do. Did I have a street going down this way? I think I did. So I'm going to take this section here. Flip it. Let's delete that segment. I'll take this. This one. This one. It's lining up pretty well, I guess. Let's do this side now. I have to break this one up though, because there's a driveway. And this is what I'm saying, where like improvements in the tool need to be made so that I don't have to cut this or break this up like I'm doing right now. Have it so that you just automatically create a driveway or an entrance point along the spline as you're stretching it out. See, it's like right here, I'm gonna have to put in one of these corner pieces. Bring this over. Throw it in here. See, here's that old spline. I can delete that now because it's completely useless. One thing. Did I dip it? I did, didn't I? That's probably gonna have to change as well. Okay, back street going into that area. 640. Shit. But wait, okay. I think I think it's time to just hit the brakes. That's insane. Anyways, it's a good time to stop now. Uh, again, back on San Francisco full time, but I do have little things coming in that require my attention. That's pretty much the scope of my work. I'm building levels, I'm modeling, creating collisions, doing revisions, bug fixes, anything that falls within my work as far as maintaining these levels and building the elements for it, 3D models and even the levels themselves, doing the pathing and so on. And if I can brush up on my skills as far as the technical aspect of this, I can just put more time into developing a better street tool or a tool for creating the roads and sidewalks and stuff like that. I'm at a point where I'm starting to transition more into like the technical artist role, and I should. So it's just spending more time familiarizing myself with the tools that I have to create what I want to create, and taking the time to just doing the work. But either way, progress is being made. I just have this section of the city to replace all these splines, and then rebuilding the metro, continue doing the detail pass until I've done the entire map. I'm trying to get it done by the end of the month. So barring any other major interferences, I should be able to get it done. Yeah, 'cause I'm going to be pushing hard. I'm going to be throwing trees in here and just set dressing and doing more work. Uh, Got to do some landscape work here because I'm not too happy with the way this is looking. I need to simplify it. This is the bird sanctuary at not Central Park, Golden Gate Park. So that definitely needs some improvement. And just stuff like that. Making the map look better so that I can then move on to doing all the 3D modeling stuff for the buildings. Finalize them and have a nice, big, great looking map of San Francisco. Or a gamey version of it. You know, it's not like a one-to-one replica of San Francisco, but, you know, something video gamey in a way that represents the city. There's also what I need to do for the outskirts of this section is how am I going to handle this backdrop down here? I haven't put a lot of time into it. I did put a lot of thought into it, and I think it's going to require a bit more work as well because I need that to transition into the distance in a way that doesn't look too crappy. You know, so like this will have to continue on to a certain point so that it vanishes into like a gray area or something like that. But yeah, tons of work to do, and I'm kind of getting back up to speed and making the improvements and getting this thing closer and closer to finish. So anyhow, I'm gonna jump over to. Did I save? Yes. Okay. Blendell. The other thing I need to do is improve the collisions on this, which involves adding more collision meshes. Yippee. So let's end the stream with a little bit of this. So we have this collision. I think this one should do. So copy that. How far do I have to go? Huh? So from there to there. Snap to point. And it's just filling in that non-collision having part of the stadium. Make sure it's nice and lined up to that section. Should extend that up though. Let's make sure those collisions are lined up. They are not. I think right here I'm gonna have to do an edge snap for that. Okay, it doesn't want to snap to the edge. Is it lined up though? Looks good. All right. I'll just take that, copy it again. Get it over to the other side. Okay, that's a problem. I'm not Vertex snapping. Damn. Don't start getting dry. That's what the water's for. Vertex. There we go. Just do that with the other one as well. I don't want any part of that static mesh sticking out beyond the collision because that also tends to create a little bit of a problem sometimes. Alright, so next. Should do that lip. Fuck it. I'm not gonna put that off. So copy that. One more again. It's that vertex snap. This one I'm gonna go with solid. Snap it to the corners. I'm gonna cut that one in a bit. Let's duplicate again. We're gonna go all the way down the edge. 35. Son of a bitch. Let's look at this. Back into solid mode so I can snap it to the right edge. Same on this side. Now for this one, I'm gonna need to make a subdivision right here. Let's just cut that. Insert an edge loop. That should do it. Yeah, it's good. All right, and that's a convex shape. Yeah, it's good. Let's keep going. I've got one, two, quite a few to construct here. Sure I'm not overlapping. Solid view and snap. Now this is so that I'm just kind of anticipating that at some point a player is going to drop some of their units or snipers up here, and there's no ledge there, so I want to put that collision in there so that when they do that, there's something there and I don't get a bug report saying my sniper's falling through this rooftop. Getting the number of these properly, so that's 37, 38, 39. Let's go back into solid view so I can get the right corner there. So it's 40. Carajo. There it goes. Is 43. And finally, 44. That'll be the last collision adjustment I'll have to make to this building, to this building or any other in a while. So I've got a ton of work to do on San Francisco, and I want to keep that train chugging along. Okay, so for this one, I'm going to add an extra segment here or another loop. All right. No, cancel, cancel. Just regular save. Let's select all of these. Export. Should be good. And now we'll go back into the engine. Let's bring up simple collision just so I can see the change happen in real time. Re-import. Hopefully everything comes through and we're good to go. Come in. And there it is. Excellent. That should prevent that issue from happening where they were running through this section of the wall here, which is not good. And I've also added an extra safety up here along this ledge so that if any player decides to put snipers up here, they won't fall through that ledge. So we're good to go on that one. Let's get on over to this bad boy here. So as you can see, it is one single piece actually. Now going in here, I would have to either, I think I might have the FBX for this. I might not. This one doesn't have a rail. Interesting. Wait, that must be the LOD doing that, but looks like it has a rail on this one, right? Well, not a rail, but a little wall, like a mini wall. And I think it might be the LOD that's doing this right now. But rather than cutting out sections of that little wall, I think it's just easier to make a kill volume down there. But first, I need to look at the open world map. So I'm in the open world map. Duh. So let's go into the persistent level. Let's see what I've got here. There's really no volume for that. Snap points, snap bounds. That's for the bridge. Edge boundary. Okay, yeah, that's so that the camera can't go beyond that or any units. I think that's it. We should have underwater volumes. The carrier. Do we not have those in this map? Let's go over to Treasure Island. The nav blockers, maybe. Those for beaches. What are these? Nav bounds. These are in level. That's for that area. Water here. That's for that park. Okay, that's the water net bound. I think this is the one that prevents units from walking into the ocean. That looks like it's a little too high. TI water blocker. Just need to make sure this does not come up too high. I should actually be coming down lower. And it's only a null volume. No, that's the one. It does look like it's a bit too high. And it's only on this side. Why is it only on this side? That's weird. Yeah, it's only that far. That's weird. I did not place that one. That's not it either. Is it in the water level? No. Maybe landscape. Nope. It's definitely not in the vehicle nav level. I mean, the only other thing I can see might be is this one here. That's just a regular nav area null. Void climb default. No. What is no circ? Maybe it's not in this level. It's for bridge. Why are there cliff meshes in this level? It's not. Oh, well, that's annoying. Yeah, that's supposed to be in San Francisco landscape. Okay, I'm gonna jump into the actual stable map right now, not the beta, to see if the nav volumes are in there. Bay nav. Okay, those are nav bound volumes. Don't see them in here. Okay, let's go over to the stable map then. I'm in the current build, so I'm in the beta right now. So This, that's good. Let's go in here. See if they're still in this map at least. It's supposed to be an underwater nav ball. Whoops. Yeah, fuck, it's 7 o'clock now. You see? It just keeps on going. Anyhow, I think I'm gonna end it. I'm just gonna check out these nav volumes. If there isn't any, I'm just gonna replace it or create a new one. Well, clearly, I think the other map might need one. I don't know if it's in there, but I need to fix that issue so we don't have players jumping into the water there. Man, why does this take so long? Oh, it's the end of the day. It starts to slow down near the end of the day. Come on. 2 hours, 13 minutes down. All right. Come on. I opened this map earlier today. Don't need this open anymore. That's fixed. Okay. It's going to take a while. Anyways, that's going to be it for today's stream. If you enjoyed the stream, please like, subscribe, follow, whatever it is that they do on the app that you're watching it on. You know, well, this is usually just Twitch and YouTube, so like, subscribe, follow. I do this every Tuesdays and Thursdays, usually in the afternoon when my day is winding down, and just, giving folks an update to what I've been doing. Lately, I'm back on San Francisco, full throttle, full time, trying to get that map to the finish. I want to get all the set dressing and detail work done by the end of the month, so I'm going to be pushing hard on that map. I'll be back here on Thursday, continuing the work on San Francisco, as I will be later tonight and tomorrow. Thursday, I'm definitely going to be late to the stream because my doctor's appointment is at 2:30, so maybe I won't be late. But depending on how long it takes me to get back, I probably won't be popping on right at 4 p.m. So I will put out a video saying that I'm jumping on though. Let's see, real quick, what's going on in here? It's the bridge. What's that? There it is, the underwater one. It's not in the other map. And that is no collision, and it's still nav area null. It's not a damage volume. Pretty sure I have one of these in Presidio too. And that's actually the old one. Yeah, that's supposed to be for that one island. Okay, so it is there. Now I need to check the other map to make sure it's in there. So I'll jump over to Pandemic, Iron Wake. See what's going on in there. Okay. Anyhow, that's going to be it. The name of the game is Cepheus Protocol. It is a sandbox zombie survival co-op RTS. If you haven't checked it out, go ahead and pick it up on Steam or the Epic Game Store. You can also join our Discord, public Discord of the same name, Cepheus Protocol. Link up with other players, get some co-op games going, join in on some of the playtests. be back here on Thursday. Thanks for watching and have a good night. I'm so done. My brain is fried. Have a good one.